You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk, a movie podcast where we give pumps and dumps.
Hello and welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week I am, of course, your chunk.
I'm Doge, and seriously misunderstood creatures chunks are. It's the eyes, I reckon.
And I'm Carter. Oh, Harry, you need a hunk, my friend.
Oh, good. And it wasn't even our third try, definitely. Carter, did you just say you're the hunk?
Yes.
Tell the people what they want to know.
Expound.
I have a new father.
Wow.
I don't have, it's not a replacement to my actual father.
Okay, it's just like an additional.
One of the earliest shout outs ever. Shout out to Rick Willis for being one half of what made me
certainly
perfect.
He's a sixth of what made this podcast possible.
He really is.
Yeah.
So, new dad.
Yeah.
I actually spend time with him every day, which is kind of how it was with my old dad. But new dad, he helps me clean the dishes, and his name is Scrub Daddy.
Okay.
I'm not going to pitch it too much because I don't know if the Scrub Daddy people are listening. It's a free podcast. We're not asking for anything of you. If anything, we're helping you. Have you guys heard of the Scrub Daddy?
I actually
Not even until right now.
Please let me explain.
Yeah, I'd love
want
it if you would.
nothing more.
So it was on Shark Tank at one time, and I was really
Sold
only
already.
using this video to show my students some of what are considered the best pitches of all time. It was to aid them in doing a persuasive speech.
Right.
Stumbled upon the Scrub Daddy pitch. It literally took 1 minute and 50 seconds, and it changed my life.
Wow.
The Scrub Daddy, I do not have a dishwasher, okay? But this was an okay
None?
thing for me. I do not have a dishwasher. And
Are
so
you a drying rack type guy now?
drying rack guy, wash all dishes by hand.
Wow.
One of the things I love about washing dishes, look inside at a little bit of something new about me. I used to be obsessive compulsive. I basically had a disorder. Have I ever shared this on the podcast? I used to count my steps. Like I had to have the same amount of left and right steps in a day. If I turned completely around one way, I had to unwind the other or I would feel strange. Like I legitimately had problems. I'd wash my hands 25, 27 times a day. They just get raw. My mom fixed all of that by just being a really cruel person. I can tell that story at another time. I would like set up my army men in like perfect rows, just really anal, like just putting everything together all over the house. And she would be Godzilla and just be like, Godzilla! And like come in and just kick them everywhere and then say, I'm doing that because I don't want you to grow up weird. It worked.
Yeah.
Well, but it also
Tough love.
scarred me a little bit.
Tough love.
Anyways, I love washing dishes. Here we are now to Scrub Daddy. Scrub Daddy is a sponge that just looks like an emoji. It is just literally a yellow sponge of a face.
I think
you're
I
like,
hate it.
And you're like, that's strange. Here's the thing. Let's get sciencey. We like the science stuff. We've got a cinema scale.
Sure.
That's
We're
born
good friends of science.
Birthed of science. So the Scrub Daddy, in hot water, this sponge becomes very soft. Good for just the cleaning part of things. But when the cold water hits it, it is like wiry, like metal scrape.
Whoa.
Like it goes hard. So here's the thing. There's eyes and a mouth in the Sponge Daddy. The eyes are to put your fingers in so that you can just put the Sponge Daddy into like a cylindrical, like a cup or something and scrub in there. So it's like letting you go into anything. The mouth, not just there for looks. The mouth is so that you can put silverware through it.
Oh my gosh.
And press down and simply clean with one swipe. I've now had 4 nights with Scrub Daddy, which is going to be my memoir when I eventually write it.
So
absolutely.
this is like a new development in the Carter Willis story.
No doubt.
Okay.
$3. And it
Whoa.
lasts like 4 months.
You have convinced me. I'm probably gonna.
Dude,
where do you buy a
it's
Scrub
everywhere.
I'm
Target,
Googling
Walmart.
what this thing looks like just so that I can get a
It kind of looks like
mental
he has
image.
hair, but that's like a bristly, like a
Let me see a
comb at
pic.
the top. Let me do a pic.
Carter, did you take a picture of your own Scrub
I
Daddy?
don't think I did.
So as far as father figures go, how is the Scrub Daddy on emotional support?
Does he come to your T-ball games?
He doesn't come to my T-ball games, but Scrub Daddy is there. Like, I know if I wasn't able to accomplish something at work that day or something earlier, like something that I just had on my checklist, I know that I can clean like a dish. Like
Scrub
that,
Daddy's
like a
there.
one.
Scrub
Scrub
Daddy's
Daddy's
there. Like
there
he's
for
going to
you.
help me accomplish something.
That's
something
incredible.
that was once dirty is now clean.
Wow.
That's Scrub Daddy in the box. Very simple. Not as creepy as you would think.
Yeah, it's not as
In
creepy as I
description.
would think.
Yeah.
It looks just like that.
It says rain is in the forecast on your phone.
It does.
Oh, he's cute.
Scrub
Cute little
daddy.
scrub daddy.
$3.
$3
$3.
to change my life.
That's pretty worth it.
Yeah.
The special offer for our listeners, if you go to scrubdaddy.com/2chunks,
You can pay full price.
you get absolutely nothing because they're not sponsoring us, but we just gave them free publicity. So
And fun fact, no one's sponsoring us.
that's a good point.
So if you have a product that you want us to talk about, I don't know how sponsorships work.
tweet
Cash me $10 and I'll talk about whatever you want on this podcast.
But yeah, Scrub Daddy. That's what makes me hunk. He gets the chunks and hunks out of my dishes.
He does.
Nice.
Scrub Daddy.
On theme,
Scrub
too.
Daddy.
Brought to
So-
you by Scrub Daddy.
One thing that I want to make sure that we do during the course of this podcast is, and hear me out, I want to talk about a movie.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fair. That
Change
sounds
it
like
up
a good
little
idea.
bit. I want to talk about a movie. And guys, do you know what movie I want to talk about?
I think so. I hope it's the one I watched.
Is the one that you watched called Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, or the Half-Blood Philosopher for our friends across the pond. Did it feel like we just did that in slow motion?
I don't think so.
A little bit. Half-Blood. But maybe even more importantly than the title of this movie, I'd like to keep it within the confines of the series that we began.
Ooh,
You know the one.
good idea.
Here we
one
go, about to sing.
We're gonna sing it right now, and it
Here we
sings
go.
like
It's
this.
happening.
Do you believe in magic? Man, we crush it so
I'm worn out from all that singing.
I was pitchy that time, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were. If we could go back. Adam, can we go back and post and fix that? Adam says yes.
Punch us in.
That'll be great. So this movie, huh? Time to talk about it.
It's a good one.
Let's go ahead and get started. Oh, psych. We have to talk about something else first.
I know what you. Yep.
Do
It's-
you?
It's time to tie it up. I think it's time to tie it
It
up.
is time.
Am I up by one or
You're
you
up by one.
You're up. I'm up by one.
You're up by one.
Okay.
So this one either ties it up or pulls you ahead in the segment known as I Am Doo-Doo Trivia. Carter, what's this segment?
I am doo-doo trivia.
What happens here?
Oh. In this segment, Jordan is going to read two different bits of trivia from
true.
IMDb. Lies. One of them he made up himself. This was brought about and discovered by the fact that some people are really bad at contributing to IMDb trivia. So it's not as easy as you think it would be.
That's correct.
And now, here's Jordan with the two trivias.
Trivia number 1. Dobby was originally going to be in this movie, but was removed from the script to make room for one of the two main love stories. Trivia number 2. The 6th of 8 movies based on the Harry Potter book series by J.K. Rowling.
So number 2 is not even a sentence.
I read it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm ready. I know which one you made up.
Carter, are you ready?
Yeah.
And because I ask this every week, we're guessing the one you made up.
You were guessing the made up trivia, number 1 or number 2.
Okay.
I will say 3, 2, 1, go. You will say the number. 3, 2, 1, go.
2.
We both said 2.
You both lost.
That's
This is a
real
first
trivia?
in I Am Doo-Doo history.
You stumped us.
The real trivia taken from imdb.edu is the 6th of 8 movies based on the Harry Potter book series by J.K. Rowling. The trivia I made up was about Dobby
That was really good.
being replaced.
Is Dobby in the book though?
No.
But that was good. He had me thinking.
Yeah, he had me thinking
I also
too.
thought, I don't even think he's in the book. But
Dobby's in Goblet of Fire though, right? Like that's when he steals stuff from Snape and gives it to Harry.
Couldn't tell you.
yeah, but they don't feature him in Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, he's not in the movies, in the
Right.
book though. Somebody
And then
who-
we'll see him again.
Somebody who is more familiar with the books than me, please text me and let me know.
Wow.
I don't know what to do here, guys.
What do you mean? We both lost. It's
We
4-3.
both lost. 4-3.
That's actually, it's better this way. I rather tie him right now than be down 2 with only 2 episodes left.
Okay.
That's
true.
fair.
So
That's a
this
good
still
point.
gives me a chance
So you got to tie it up next week.
to where, how perfect would that be?
Oh,
The final
it's
week.
all I want, really. It's really the only thing I want in life. In total. Doge, I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Could you do me a favor?
Probably.
Could you hit me with that flavor? The one that I savor? You know what I'm talking about. A synopsis.
Aver.
Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is the 6th of 8 movies based on Harry Potter's time at Hogwarts. This movie chronicles kind of the fallout from the wizarding world being reintroduced to Voldemort. Voldemort's back. And so Hogwarts no longer is a safe place. We really spend the majority of our time trying to uncover a plot that somehow includes Draco Malfoy to do the Dark Lord's bidding inside of Hogwarts. At the same time, Harry's also trying to recover a memory about baby Voldemort from Professor Horace Slughorn. How much more detail do we need to get? Are we ready to talk about it? I'm super ready to talk about this movie.
Let's talk about this movie.
I want to begin by issuing maybe first ever, maybe second ever, a verbal retraction.
Ooh.
In our last Harry Potter episode, I was running my mouth and thinking that I was a big shot and saying things like, I think that Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince are the same story that were split into 2 years because J.K. Rowling needed to get another book on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
I wholeheartedly, with my entire mind, body, and soul, disagree with that now and heartily apologize to the Rowling family.
It's really big of you.
This movie, this story, Harry Potter and Half-Blood Prince, to me feels like a more appropriate follow-up to Goblet of Fire than perhaps Order of the Phoenix does, at least in the movies. And so I think that's why I was trying to say, let's just skip Order of the Phoenix and go right to Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, and to understand the significance of and the weight of this retraction, you guys can't see this because it's a podcast, but the Rowling family is in Casa de Chunk with us
They're
right
here
now.
right now.
They're
They're all standing behind me with their arms folded.
Doge
is not really like talking or addressing Jordan and I. He's looking right at the Rowling family.
Me and JK go way back.
J.K. Rowling is actually working Doge like a puppet
I'm
right
afraid
now.
that I damaged our relationship irreparably.
And so to J.K. Rowling, Doge says, hey, I was J.K.
Gross.
Rowling.
Yeah, I didn't like
nice.
it.
Very good.
I didn't
Anyway,
like it either.
now that that's out of the way, now that I admit that I was wrong, swallow my chunky pride.
Gross.
Let's talk about this movie.
I heard the swallow sound when you said, just like,
No, stop.
it's Carter's biggest nightmare.
Learning a lot about me on this podcast.
So one thing I want to start off by saying, I have never seen a fictional character more chomping at the bit to get his hands on some Wii Sports than Harry Potter in this movie.
For real.
Every girl with a pulse in this movie is fair game for Harry Potter
For
to pine
real.
after.
This boy's on the prowl.
This movie starts with random waitress and Harry being like, "Oh, what up?"
Yeah, and
And
to
I
me,
didn't like it.
I think it's just creepy.
Yeah,
I think
is.
this was the episode. This was the movie that I really realized how thin Daniel Radcliffe's lips are.
and
And
he
then
has
it's
the
like-
poofiest middle part that has ever existed in the
it's
world.
just not for how I already feel. He's not helping his case by
Yeah.
just adding creepiness to
How
it.
do you feel about his performance in this, though? Because watching this, I felt like this is best Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah,
for me.
and
this
I'll
is peak Dan.
His
I'll agree
best
with
moment
you.
in this movie is when he's unconscious on the floor of the train into Hogwarts. That's his
Right.
best acting I've seen. Just
I actually
lying
think it was
still.
pretty good with him and Hermione in the library. Whenever he's talking about Romilda Vane, that felt like his interactions with Hermione and Ron, and this one felt at least a little more genuine. Like it
Yeah.
felt like these people have been
I think
friends
what's
for 6 years.
I
unfortunate
hear
is this script asks that we give 70% of the entire screen time to Harry and Draco.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's either this film or the very first one when he had all the excuses in the world to not be very good. He was just a cute little kid that
Yeah.
looked like Harry Potter.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Does Harry's desire to play Wii Sports with anything that moves for you two in any way cheapen his love with Ginny?
I think it absolutely
It does for
I
me.
don't buy it in the movies as much as I did in the books. And
I'll agree with that, but
I do want to avoid I think with this one in particular, with this movie in particular, it's going to be really easy to say, oh, the book did it better, the book did it different. We are reviewing the movie though,
right.
Yeah.
not the book. I think I need you guys to hold me accountable to not talk about the book as much.
It just feels like Harry was trying to get his snog on, to quote the movie. And I feel like at the point when Ginny finally steps up to the plate, he's just ready for whatever.
It's just like, oh, finally a girl.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to me,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-Harry Ginny. I think I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to make a confession. I think I'm pro Harry Luna.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
so Harry Ginny stings a little bit for me.
Okay.
And I get it. It's in the books, whatever. I just think I'm so pro Harry Luna and that never happens that I'm looking for any reason to dislike.
your team Larry.
Yeah, I'm a big Larry fan.
Team Larry.
Huge Larry
Not
fan.
Team Jerry.
Right.
Yeah.
But we start with the waitress in the train station,
Train station.
metro station.
Yo.
Yeah.
Dumbledore did it first. Sorry, Cap.
Whoa,
Yeah, he
I
did.
thought the same thing.
Appearing from behind the train.
Yes, I thought
What a
the
ripoff.
exact same thing.
And that was one of my
Marvel
favorite.
stepping
That was one of my favorite scenes from Infinity War.
Same.
But Dumbledore did it first.
big, enormous pump on Michael Gambon
Oh my
as Dumbledore in
goodness.
this. And
Yeah.
I will say, we're going to talk about things that happen to Dumbledore. And in so doing, we're probably going to start to encroach on stealing a little bit of thunder from Deathly Hallows. So
Yeah, probably.
consider this a light spoiler warning.
Right.
If you don't know what happens in Deathly Hallows, probably try and find that out somehow, either by watching the movie or reading the Wikipedia if you want to keep listening to this episode.
I would say definitely watch the movie.
If you're after a pristine viewing experience of Deathly Hallows, where you're surprised by every twist and turn, this is probably not the podcast episode for you. We're probably going to end up accidentally spoiling that.
Certainly.
Right.
But yeah, big pump on big pump on Michael Gambon.
Yeah, I want to talk
His-
more about him later.
Okay, yeah, we'll
Yeah,
talk about
I've got a specific scene I want to talk about.
Yeah,
with him
I
later
think
in the movie.
I might have brought it up in Order of the Phoenix, but some reiteration that he was supposed to be Dumbledore right now. I
Yes.
loved Dumbledore
Yes.
1, but we don't need Santa Claus right now. We need
Right. I
Captain
also want
America.
to pump on. I kept noticing the little bangle that holds his beard together at the bottom.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like, what a brilliant way to make sure this beard is not flying every which way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big fan. Big pump on the beard bangle.
Yeah, I guess we're discovering he just stole all these super manly things. He didn't steal them; people stole from him. I mean, we've got a combination of Captain America and Drago. Oh my God, what's the name of the guy from Game of Thrones?
Khal Drogo?
Khal
Khal Drogo.
Yeah.
He also has the beard.
Do you mean Ivan
Guys.
Drago from Rocky
Ivan
4?
Drago from
and
Rocky.
Ivan Drago? We'll get to that later.
Yeah, that's the crossover.
The
He's
parallels.
doing it all. He's
That's
doing
going to
it
be
all.
Creed 3, Harry Potter 9.
Are they going to call Creed 3 just Threed?
I think it's going to be
I hope so.
CR33D.
And it's in 3D?
Yeah.
Ew.
And it's actually Creed 33. They're skipping a whole lot of movies in between.
Well, that feels like the joke died. That feels like we beat it enough. Can we move
enough.
on from
Yeah,
the Creed
let's go.
jokes? Okay, great. So
Speaking of joke dying,
Yeah.
Dumbledore does too.
Whoa!
I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do that.
Dumbledore and Harry go to Horace Slughorn's home where he is hidden.
He is
in
a
chair.
He's transfigured himself into an
armchair.
armchair.
So I want to talk about not really anything important that happens in this scene. I want to talk about the house cleanup where Dumbledore uses magic to fix the house.
I mean, I loved it.
I have never wanted magic more. Not from a big crazy magic scene, not from anything saving the world. It was watching that house clean itself.
Mm-hmm.
That is the moment where I said, I want magic so bad.
And you can have magic for just $3. Scrub Daddy.
Scrub Daddy.
Scrub Daddy.
It'll clean your house.
Cleans all things.
We're here, and I'm going to throw it out real early.
Here it is.
Mr. Jim Broadbent, the actor who plays Horace Slughorn, is my super pump.
Oh, cool.
He is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
in
he
this.
does really well.
Like, I don't know, just something about his performance is the most believable performance in this movie to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear
he-
that, especially in the flashback scenes.
I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something. You talked about Carter a few weeks ago how Dan Radcliffe does not act with his eyebrows,
Right.
and I feel like Jim Broadbent more than makes up for that. The way that he holds,
Almost exclusively
the way that
through
he
eyebrows.
holds his face and his eyes whenever he acts.
sure.
I'm thinking in particular of when they've just finished Aragog's funeral at Hagrid's hut.
Right.
Like his performance in that scene when he's telling Harry, like, I didn't know what he was going to be. I was just answering a question. Please don't think less of me. Like it's so heartbreaking, but
Right.
it's so good.
Yeah, he does really well. And I think this was one of the biggest performances that I remember of like an actor seemingly putting a different spin than what I thought would be in the book
Yeah.
on this.
Yes.
I thought Slughorn was going to look more like Daddy Dursley and
Yeah.
just maybe be
Just
a little
more
bit
gross.
crude.
Yeah.
But this was brilliant. This was definitely a testament to his skill.
Yeah, I think
So-
he did a good job portraying a normal man who made a mistake.
Mhm.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. No, I think that's a
Yeah.
very worthy super pump.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Wish we got more Slughorn.
We get a lot of Slughorn though.
We do. We sure do.
You just wish it was Harry Slughorn and the Slughorn.
perfect.
Can you guys
exactly.
give me what you feel like a slughorn as an instrument would sound like? That's good. I like that.
So sort of like a bad bass guitar.
Yeah.
Mine would just be like, bwop,
Oh, like
Yeah.
almost like blowing a bubble in pudding.
bwop. Yeah.
Nice.
Very similar.
Bop.
Isn't that a Hanson song? I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Bwop.
Bwop.
So we're at Slughorn's house. We clean up the house. Dumbledore steals the knitting magazine.
We have our first look at
Did
because
Dumbledore
everybody
make a pee joke?
Every
Stops
can I-
the action
can I
saying,
use the
"Can I
loo?"
use the loo?" What's
Yes.
the point of that?
Well, at this point, there was enough like little weird bits of comedy that hadn't been present in the other ones that I was afraid we were going to hear like fart noises from off screen.
Is it? But was the idea to humanize Dumbledore by reminding us that Dumbledore has to go pee pee sometimes?
Listen, everybody poops, even Dumbledore.
Dumbledore. It just, I mean, I'm not dumping on it necessarily. He was, but I'm not necessarily dumping
Fair
on
enough.
it.
Wow.
It was just, it felt really out of character.
That's the weird thing to me is that this one is also David Yates, and David Yates did Order of the Phoenix.
Didn't he also do Goblet?
No,
No?
he didn't. He started
Didn't he
with
also
Order
do
of the
Goblet?
Phoenix.
Sorry.
Didn't he also do Goblet? No, he started with Order of the Phoenix, and Order of the Phoenix for me tonally felt like he had no idea what he was doing. It was kind of all over the place, at least in my opinion. And I
Right.
think
We all had different opinions.
you
on
guys
that
feel
one,
differently about that. This movie, he feels like he's very certain of the tone that he's going for, and it's
Interesting.
completely different than any of the other Harry Potters. This has a lot more comedy. It's a lot brighter feeling in a dark story.
When you're thinking back on the movie, not necessarily frame for frame, but just picking a frame, does the movie feel green to you?
yes,
Yes.
Okay. Can someone
It's a filter.
Okay.
I think
gotcha.
everything is slightly green shifted.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I actually do
Not
want to
as
say
bad as
something.
like Matrix or something
Right.
like that.
I feel like we're kind of on topic for my super pump, actually.
Oh.
And I want to toss it out now just to get y'all's opinions on it.
Right.
I was surprised by my super pump for this movie. And it is because my super pump is how much this felt like one of the first 2 or 3 Harry Potter movies.
Okay.
In a really good
Really?
way.
Okay.
Explain.
I feel like there was such a heavy focus on Hogwarts as an institution. We got to see classes and Quidditch again. And I'm shocked as anybody that I liked to see Quidditch again. But
Right.
like we got to see these things that were so present in the first couple of movies. We got to see Harry as a student and pulling ahead in classes and worrying about test scores.
Yeah.
And all of these things that I feel like the heaviness of not that this movie wasn't heavy, but I just feel like it was such a good way of including some of the heaviness and some of the lighthearted school stuff together.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, it almost felt nostalgic to something I didn't know I would feel nostalgia for.
Yeah.
And I found myself enthralled by the school
Okay.
in this movie.
Yeah, I think we do a really good job in this one of balancing kind of the heaviness of the overarching conflict with Voldemort. We balance that and contrast it really nicely with the whimsy of magic. Like when Slughorn is an armchair, or like Ginny has the pink little puff creature, and we see Fred and George's joke shop. Like
I love Fred and George's
it
joke
still
shop.
feels light. It still feels like the same kind of magic that we're introduced to in Sorcerer's
Right.
Stone and
I loved seeing like the Felix.
Felix Felicis.
Yeah, the luck potion was
Yeah.
so first couple of Harry Potters for me.
Yeah.
As soon as he won that, I was like, oh, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
It has to come back. And I think that was so much fun. I don't know. I just, this movie felt like it recaptured some of the fun of Harry Potter while keeping some of the intensity of how serious our narrative has become.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I tell you guys like a nostalgic, I don't even know if this is a right combination of words, but like a nostalgic observation I made.
Yeah.
And it wasn't nostalgia for Harry Potter.
Sure.
It was just and I'm not trying to get really heavy right now, but all of this, like, no, we still need to have humor. And I'm talking about in the world, not what
Right.
the director's decisions were, but things like what the Weasleys doing, like, hey, let's still have fun. It's not to take our minds off of things, but it's to say that just because this is happening doesn't mean we can't have fun anymore.
Right.
I was brought back to when SNL decided to still do a show so close to 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Like there was a moment when they were like, people thought it might be inappropriate. They were like, I don't know if we're not supposed to
Laugh.
It doesn't feel like we're supposed to laugh right now.
Right.
But I think Giuliani went up and was like, actually, no, we are. Just to show people that like you're not getting to us as much as you think you
Yeah,
are.
you can't
and
break
so
us.
that might be way too deep for what was
No, I
happening
think
in
that's-
this movie. But I've always enjoyed how the Weasley twins, because they go in and they burn up all the owls and they say, deuces Hogwarts, we hate you Umbridge, all that kinds of stuff. I think one of their biggest moves, like against the man, like they feel like the punk guys.
Yeah.
You know, they feel like the
Right.
hands up in the air at the end of Breakfast Club. Like that's the Fred and George Weasley. And so for them to say, you know what, in the darkness. Like stuff has closed down in Diagon Alley, but they have the most goofy looking shop in the middle of all this. And it feels like it's a total shot at Death Eaters, at Voldemort
absolutely.
to say, we're totally against the man. Like, we don't care what you think.
Well, and I think that laughter and fun have their place in the light, but I think the time that they're the most effective is when they're contrasted against a dark backdrop.
Certainly.
And so I think that you're on the nose 100% of one of the reasons it stands out as so powerful in this movie. Like the lighthearted fun moments are because it is against such a bleak, dark backdrop.
Yeah, and I don't think it was for the sake of let's make sure the audience isn't depressed.
Right. No, I
think it was a
story driven.
It's in character.
Totally.
So, thanks for letting me go off.
Yeah.
Speaking of going off on side trails, our main three heroes follow Draco down Nocturne Alley, right? And this is where we're kind of introduced to Draco's...
And he looks deathly ill.
Dude,
he doesn't look great, huh?
Here's the deal. Tom Felton has had a more lucrative acting career than I will ever have.
Sure.
Dude grew up to look real goofy.
Yeah, but I'll say this. He climbed his way back up past Daniel Radcliffe again for me in this movie.
Well,
yeah, he did.
The way he looks, too, is what I was going to say. Like, the way he looks in this movie makes sense because of what an immense amount of stress he probably feels.
Well, and I think he actually, to his credit, did a really good job of portraying a conflicted character.
Yeah.
Which I was not expecting based on Potter.
Like 100% of viewers and characters within this story all know he can't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Even him.
And he portrays it well. Like he's really not capable. And it's all this feigned like bravery. You're like, dude, you can't even. And he portrays that well every time that he would do a test with the
Vanishing Cabinet.
The Vanishing Cabinet.
One of my favorite. Yeah, okay, first of all.
Yeah,
okay,
they say every syllable of cabinet.
Well, Harry, when he first says Vanishing Cabinet, it is 100% diagonally.
Vanishing Cabinet.
It's just that again. But I actually love the scene where Draco is crying. I mean, we don't see him, but when he's crying because the bird has died in the Vanishing Cabinet, I think it's really
Why did that
revealing
happen,
of who he is. I don't fully understand it.
See,
I know that it died, and then when he opened it again, it was black instead of white.
Well, no. He tried it with those two birds. Like he tried it first with the apple. He sent the apple, and they bit the apple on the other side and sent it back
to show that it worked.
He tried it with the white bird. The white bird died in the process. He put a live bird in, it transferred, came back, and it was dead. Tried it again with the blackbird, and then whenever Harry and Ginny go up there later to maybe play Wii Sports, that's when the blackbird comes out alive.
Yeah. I know exactly why, and I'll explain it to you. I really do.
Okay.
No joke. So Arthur Weasley talks about how they're dangerous because it almost has to be like a perfect transfer. So what happens is we see that not every bit of that bird goes into the cabinet because a feather stays out.
Oh.
And so as Draco's holding that feather, they make a point to say, oh, there's a feather right here. He's like, huh? Well, the fact that not all of the bird went back, none of it came back. Like its soul did not return.
Genuinely first time I ever
I had no idea.
And then I think the blackbird's for imagery.
Well,
I think the blackbird is...
Let me stomp all over this then.
Okay, do it.
Why did the apple come back after a bite had been taken out of it? That's more lost than a feather falling.
But maybe the apple was dead. You know what I mean? The apple was dead already.
I think you can maybe argue there's not a soul, but that's a good point too. That leaves maybe some holes in the situation.
But I love what you just said. That's great.
And I think they took, I guess someone's just to say, hey, we got it. You know, maybe they recognize like, oh, how's he going to tell? Because that was the very first thing that they did. Like they didn't use a live thing first, just like you're doing a test. Like if you're testing a drug, you're
going to test it on an apple.
Yeah.
Or something that doesn't matter
like
as much as a human, like an apple. But anyways.
So while we're talking about Draco's plan, and I do feel the need to issue another slight spoiler warning. We're kind of entering the home stretch of our Harry Potter meta narrative. And so we will spoil most likely some of the events of Deathly Hallows.
But certainly.
That being said, let's talk about Snape.
Yeah.
Snape in this movie, to me, very best Snape that we get.
Easily.
Yeah, and he delivered. And it's not like we didn't think Alan Rickman could.
This
is where we needed very best Snape.
Yes.
I think I think one of the more powerful of his performances in this movie was making the unbreakable vow.
Yes.
Just everyone, all three of them in that scene, just frame for frame, like their faces, And I know we're picking up on how much I like focus on faces, I guess, but I mean that's acting. But like how well they're doing that, and he's recognizing what this means.
I feel like it would have been more impactful if that was Lucius instead of Narcissa Malfoy, because we've never seen her until this scene.
That's
Right.
true.
Like I don't know. I feel like
I don't know.
It didn't occur to me. But
I think what
that's
made
true.
it powerful is he's making a bond with someone who you feel like legitimately cares for Draco most.
I guess that's
And I
true.
think that
Lucius
makes
probably would not come and say, "I'm worried about my
Well,
son."
he tries to kill kids every episode, every movie.
Yeah, that's
So
true. That's a good
I
point.
think like a mother's vow, you know, like you officially have Mama Bear, like the number one person who should be naturally defending a child. I think just because of him being
Totally.
birthed from her
Sure.
with Snape.
As children do.
And really what this does for the narrative is Snape has to do what he does later.
Yes.
He has to. He has no room now. It was a brilliant move by Bellatrix Lestrange to keep him accountable, because I feel like they thought, probably because of how much everybody knows Snape loved Potter, how much he loved Lily,
right.
Yeah.
that it's like, I don't know if we've got him. And so it's like, we got to do this.
Well,
right.
I think
and Dumbledore also asked him to do that.
That's the thing. But I think
Right, but I think
from the Death Eater side, they're keeping him accountable because
Sure.
he betrayed them in the last war.
Right.
Yeah. So it's funny. Snape in this movie is best Snape to me. But
here we go.
my super dumb
Whoa.
revolves around Snape,
Okay.
because after Snape does the bad thing that he does that we'll talk about soon, and he is running away from Hogwarts with the other Death Eaters, I think Alan Rickman looked around and went, you know what, there's only like 5 minutes left in this movie and nobody said the name of this movie yet. And says, how dare you use one of my own spells against me? I am the Half-Blood Prince. And then runs away.
Yeah, it feels weird, huh?
We absolutely should have spent a lot more time on that. And I know that I said at the beginning of this episode that I want you to keep me accountable to not talk about the books. Snape is a half-blood in the books, right? Snape's dad is a wizard. His
Right.
mom is a muggle.
Yeah. they
Her
should make-
name
yeah.
is Eileen Prince. Thus, Severus Snape is the half-blood prince.
Right.
And we get no explanation of that. It's just some random, as far as the movie's concerned,
It's a nickname?
It's a random cool nickname he made up for
Yeah,
himself
I
in
agree
high
with you.
school.
And
And
it
so-
does feel a little weird, sort of shirking the responsibility of the moment that the title of the movie is given a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels weird.
I think what happened too is, I mean, we've said before, the audience of a Harry Potter movie in theaters, 70% more have read
Yes.
those books
They
than
know
Lord
what's
of the
up.
Rings.
And that's why Draco
and they can
say
afford
things,
to do things like that. But
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why Draco can say things like he can call Filch. I almost said Walder Frey. He can call Filch a filthy squib. And we've never heard that word in the movies
Right.
before, but
yeah,
The book readers go,
but now we know, his parents are magic users and he can't use magic at all. He's a squib.
Well, but like, to me, it feels like if Fellowship of the Ring, if the reveal of the Fellowship had been while they were riding horses through Lord Elrond's kingdom, and he'd just been like, "You guys are the Fellowship," like as they go past, it's just like, well,
Yeah.
we could have spent just another second on that, but I guess that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. That's always stuck out to me as weird.
Yeah. I'll jump on that easy.
Because the movie is called Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Technically, it's about Harry's relationship with Dumbledore versus Snape's relationship with Dumbledore. Like the
Right.
whole thing centers around Snape.
But also, it's about Harry's unknowing relationship with Snape.
Yeah.
This admiration and almost partnership that he has made with a past Snape and he is unaware of. And I feel like while we get a lot of that partnership, we don't get the emotional payoff of it was Snape the whole time because
this
it's
is
wasted.
Snape's story, but we never give him
Right.
the credit. And now we've said Snape so much that it doesn't sound like a real word.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something else.
Sure. And that's something else that I would like to talk about is the little bit of time we spend at the Weasleys in the middle of this movie. With the fire
When
and
their
the
house
chase
burns down.
through
The
the
Extreme
wheat and all
Makeover
that
Home
stuff.
Edition.
Yeah, for
Does
real.
it move that bus?
Yeah.
Move it right now.
Move that bus.
Does it feel like maybe that wasn't a big enough moment to anybody but me?
I absolutely think that we did not give that the time that it needed.
Okay. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, their home was destroyed, a home that we as viewers have spent a lot of time in.
Yeah. The only time we really had with that moment was on Mrs. Weasley's face
Right.
and the
Yes.
sorrow that, which she almost
Clutch.
pulled it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's so talented.
Sure.
But one of the things I do like about that scene is this was one of the, I guess I feel like Harry Potter, and I really need to take an inward look and see how I feel about Lord of the Rings in this sense too. But
Sure.
like the edge of your seat moments, have you realized how many we don't really get in either of these?
Yes.
Like, I hope, and that's a great thing to have. And maybe we do get that more with the things like Fast and Furious and Star Wars. You know, like that. There's a place for it, and I wonder if there's a place for it here. But running through those tall, like the wheat, like running through those crops,
It was awesome.
had me very uncomfortable.
The way that was
in a good way.
the way that was shot, the way that it was cut is unlike anything that we've seen in a Harry Potter movie.
I thought it was really good.
It's a much more mature sort of cinematic language that we're speaking at this point.
I
really
definitely
is.
had the moments of like, don't do that, you dummy. Like, why are you running in there? But really enjoyed that.
Can I dump on Tonks's haircut?
It is
You're
like
welcome to.
it's like the mid 90s, right? Or
It's like
early
a mullet.
2000s.
It's like almost a mullet.
No, like
I like
canonically in the story, like it's like mid 90s, early 2000s,
And,
right?
and canonically in the story, it's almost a mullet.
Yeah, well, that's also a good point.
But yeah, no, I like the scene. I like the fire. I do like that Ginny is the first person to be like, we can just like run through this. Everybody's acting like we can't, but we can just run through
Well,
this fire
no,
real
only
quick.
they're allowing. It's like someone's controlling it and allowing people to come.
Is that
through.
how you read it?
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I
how,
thought too.
Yeah, that's how J.K. wrote it. I mean, I don't know.
No,
what
she actually
No, I'm
didn't.
kidding.
This is
She
not
didn't
in-
write that.
this is not in the book.
But like him to, I think it's so that they can trap. They're trying to get Harry, and so they're letting Harry through and not the people that they don't want through.
Interesting. I read it as the opposite, that they were trying to draw the strongest people away from the house so they could blow it up. Because as soon
Perhaps
as they
it was
get
both.
as soon as they get Lupin, Tonks, Mr. Weasley, Harry, and Ginny out there, and all that's left is Ron and some siblings and
Good
Hermione down by the house, that's when they blow the windows.
What is the point of that?
A big.
I mean, is this scene to show us the Ministry and the members of the Order of the Phoenix are under attack by Death Eaters?
I think it was just a big letter F, letter U from Bellatrix Lestrange.
I think it's both. I really do think it's supposed to be like
Because that was
because
my,
everybody's being watched. Arthur was talking about how he was being watched before that even happened.
Yeah. And I actually want to pump on Helena Bonham Carter. I killed Sirius Black. Like, just, I hate it.
Yeah.
And because I hate it, I love it. She is wonderful here. And by wonderful, I mean wonderfully creepy. I think she nails it.
Greyback, is that the name of the
Fenrir Greyback.
Yeah, we see his wanted poster at the beginning.
dump? They could have done such a better job with this guy.
Yeah.
He's a werewolf.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's
He's
right.
like a standard henchman, huh?
How do we not?
I wish they would have given us more because this guy is the Capone or like a Manson. Like he is the crazy.
Yes.
Everybody was like, I don't know what's worse, Bellatrix being out or Greyback.
He
like,
is what they thought Sirius Black
he
was.
eats people.
Right.
Like this guy is awful, and I wish we would have because there's no time.
As
left.
long as we're
His
adding-
biggest role is essentially, I got it, boss.
right.
That's
As long
all
as
you're
her and
adding.
Hermione are going to have a big like that's her antithesis. Like that's the guy she's going to have fights with and stuff. But yeah.
As long
I
as
wish
we're
we had
adding
more.
action sequences to this movie, like, because to be clear, the house fire is not in the book. That's a thing we added in to kind of punch up the adrenaline
Right.
of the movie. Why do we not have a werewolf showdown then?
Thank
If we're
you.
talking about stuff that's going to be cool to watch, let's have this take place under a full moon. And so while they're fighting in the field
It
surrounded
is
by fire,
it's under the beginning of, that's why
it's the
everything's
first
bright.
night of the cycle, though.
Right.
So maybe it is the full moon.
That's how I assumed.
Why do we not? I thought that it was
Come
like
on.
a new moon, like full moon was yesterday.
Oh,
anyway,
well, it
why
was
is
so
this not
bright,
under a
though.
full moon? Why are we not
Dude.
showing Werewolf Lupin versus
We missed something.
Werewolf
here.
Greyback?
Yeah,
that would have been
that's
so
a missed
cool.
opportunity for sure.
That would have been awesome.
Anyway, maybe that's the Fast and Furious fan in me
Right.
speaking
maybe a
up and
little
saying,
bit.
"I need a little bit more action in my Harry Potter movie, please."
Hobbs versus Toretto.
Yeah,
Find
exactly.
the most muscular guys and have them fight.
And maybe one of
Would've
them
been
can like
awesome, though.
stomp a parking garage and cause it to collapse.
Oh my gosh.
Sure, for
Take
sure.
me back.
Do we want to jump ahead to sort of some love stories for a moment?
Just for a tiny moment.
just for a very small moment.
and here's what I want to say. I am, always have been, and always will be a Hermione and Ron fan. I understand that story-wise, it would make more sense for Hermione and Harry to be a couple, but Hermione and Ron, they deserve each other.
Oh, I think it's great.
I'm into it.
I love them.
I'm a big
together.
fan.
Yeah,
Harry and Ginny, I have a hard time buying, but I can handle it.
I like it in the book.
Yes.
I think they're both horribly acted and horribly written
Yes.
in the movies.
But I want to talk about the number of times that Ginny made me cringe in this movie. At one point, she comes to Harry at the Weasley's home that same night with a tray of tarts. And she says, "Have a bite, you." And just shoves a tart in his face. And Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, takes the smallest bite
I'm so
of
glad you
pastry
said something.
I've ever seen.
I am so glad you said something. It was like, oh no, I need to think of its name. What is the cute little dinosaur from Land Before Time? Ducky.
Oh,
it's
Ducky.
like Ducky took a bite out of a piece of bread.
And
It's so
it
gross.
is immediately
Yep, yep, yep.
juxtaposed by Ron eating half of a tart in one bite. He
Right,
just goes,
right.
"Arr," and takes
Dude, the
biggest
worst was
bite.
that it was an extended shot on Harry. He takes this little bite and chews it up. And I'm going to do it in real time for you guys. It's really good. And said it like that. Like he's Paul Walker saying, oh, here we go.
Here we go.
So that was a question I'm glad you brought that up. Has Harry Potter reached the point where we say, because I don't know how to put this, Conan O'Brien from Fast and Furious,
Yeah.
he eventually reached the point where we said, he is horribly acted,
But he fits this universe.
but that's him.
Yeah.
Is Harry Potter there for you guys? Because he's almost there for me where I go, Harry is horribly acted and he is so stale. He's like a cracker you've left on the counter for a year, but
Ritz boy.
that's him.
I land at a there's no excuse for it spot.
Yeah, it's hard.
fair
It's
enough.
harder for me to say that's him because I'm so offended. I had nothing tied to the Fast and Furious franchise.
Sure.
No
Yeah, okay.
literature, nothing. They could do whatever they wanted and they did, and thank you. Thank you for doing that. But for this, it was, give me something more.
Anything. No, I completely agree with you. And the last thing I want to say about the weird love story stuff, I'm going to let Hermione and Ron off the hook for this discussion because I also said finally, much like Ginny
I thought
did
it was
when
so
they.
sweet.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was great.
so sweet.
So what I want to talk about instead is the room of requirement, where we imagine that Wii Sports most likely happened with Harry and Ginny.
hidden up here forever, you know.
Dude, at one point, she's like, close your eyes so that you won't be tempted to find it. And then she walks away for
That's what I
6
needed.
seconds. She walks away for 6 seconds. So if I'm Harry, I'm going, she hid the book like in this
I
pile
think she
right
just
here.
stepped out of frame and hucked it, like threw it as hard as she can.
Just as far as she could. But then the next shot is a still shot of Harry's face, and she just like hovers into frame, into smooch mode.
But here's the thing: if she's moving at speed 5, she gets to an inch from his face and moves at speed 0.1.
Yeah.
She gets so close to his face
It's
and then
just
slows right down and just stops
Hello.
and looks at him.
And it is, you can ask Callie about this. I shivered because of how uncomfortable it made
Yeah.
me.
And you know what? Part of me was like, but what if my first kiss was seen by
Yeah, that's a good point.
billions of people? You know, it was like,
no,
it's not.
in fiction. Nobody's watching this. There's no excuse for this moment. No, I'm not gonna let you.
You're not saying they leaned into the awkwardness on purpose?
Maybe they did lean into the awkwardness
I think
on
that's
purpose.
giving Dan Radcliffe and Bonnie Wright a little
That's
too much
my
credit
thing.
as artists.
Okay.
My super dump was almost Dan Radcliffe's weird lips in this scene. The motion of his
I guess
lips.
I'm just defending it because it's my computer background right now.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
mean,
It was
This is my super pop.
It was really like Uncanny Valley almost. Like we finally perfected these two mostly human looking robots and now watch them kiss. And they're like,
I've never seen somebody's lips come out so far from where their teeth end as when Daniel Radcliffe, I'm going to say, reached his lips out for a kiss. Just like all the way out.
snagged her with his smoochers.
This is
so
enough.
weird.
I'm past it.
So
All right,
weird.
Can we
And
stop talking about this?
let's talk more about Daniel Radcliffe. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Harry and Dumbledore going to the cave.
Super pump.
Love this.
Whoa.
Let me tell you my super pump, and I'm going to tell you it is a, and I've done one of these recently, and I don't want to be a broken record. A collective super pump. I'm not going to retract things that I've said because my fury for who Daniel Radcliffe is, as a person as a whole, is it's fiery.
Sure.
But
Fair enough.
Like a goblet.
I am realizing that most, if not all, collectively of my scenes, of the scenes from this series with Dumbledore and Harry are my favorite.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because they're so far apart in their acting abilities or the roles that they play. Like he is the be all end all, and we only expect the best out of him, not just out of Michael Gambon, but out of Dumbledore. That now the excuse of being a little clammy and being like, I'm in reverence of you.
Right.
Like Daniel Radcliffe's approach makes sense more when he's
Yeah.
with Dumbledore.
Sure.
But super pump their time together. Super
Yeah.
pump their time together.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? Immediate super dump.
Whoa.
It might be another unfair super dump, but my super dump is missed opportunity. I think
Interesting.
I think Yates has some chops, and I think he's really creative. And this is just me being very sweet 16 part. Like I want everything to be perfect and over the top.
Yeah.
Can you give me more time with Dumbledore with the Horcruxes? I'm fine to go ahead because it's like a snapshot in the books. We don't really, all we know is like, it's supposed to be like the way Yates portrayed it is how it's supposed to. You're supposed to be like, what the heck? Why we never see his hand? What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, it's very much a quarrel in the beginning with his turban kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, go ahead, dude. Like, and I think it's because I started with Dumbledore or I started with Gandalf and the Balrog. Like, what if we started this movie in a dark place and you just see the light of his wand and then just this like vicious thing that comes back at him and just hurts him. And you're like, huh. You know, like I feel like we could have done so much more.
I actually really love that thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but
like if we frame it as Dumbledore versus Horcruxes, that's the beginning and our end of the movie. Yeah.
And another thing with my missed opportunity, and I'm putting them together because I feel like it's up there. I love Luna. Why don't we have more?
Yeah.
Same.
You gave me so much in Order of the Phoenix, and it made it poignant, and it made it so wonderful. All you did is, and it's great, and it's how I imagine in the books if she ever dressed like a lion, but like, that was so cute, but I need, because of how significant she will be at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have more.
We've got to have more.
Have to have more.
I understand giving me just frames of Neville.
Sure. Yeah.
Because we kind of
particularly in this story.
Right, because we have frames of Neville, because we get him from the beginning.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, we get these bites for eight movies, but I think we should have leaned in a little more to Luna.
Yes.
Because of how she helps the whole narrative, and because she is not by far, she's one of the top 3 most interesting characters in the whole Harry Potter series.
Completely.
Ravenclaws represent.
And go ahead and giving me more of Dumbledore, and you can even have Harry too, but more of Dumbledore with the Hallows, because this scene is so
well. And my super pump was almost. It's not, but it was almost. Obviously, it's not. The scene where Dumbledore does his sudden kill me scream.
Yeah.
When he,
Oh man.
it was out of nowhere in a good way, in the sense of like, oh, he's really hurting right now. And I think that drove home how like sacrificial it was for him to say, no, I'm going to drink it instead of you.
Yeah, everything about that 5 minutes that we had for that whole getting the necklace. Just the scene. I don't know why I love it, because I also loved when we saw Azkaban for a fraction of a second, just out in the middle of a vicious ocean and a storm. But then the fact that they landed on a rock, to me too, it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, we missed it. I meant for us to be on that side. But I love.
How did they get there? Did they apparate then into the cave from
I
the
don't
rock?
remember.
Seems weird to do a second apparition.
But that was another thing too that made me even think of it. I was like, oh, that's creative, Yates. You gave us a beautiful shot. Like I think that's
right.
That kind of represents in general what lays before Harry about to be by himself trying to destroy Horcruxes. It's like, this is not easy.
While we're talking about Michael Gambon, just a pump on him when he guesses that, and again, here's that spoiler warning again, guys, when he guesses that Harry's the final Horcrux.
Yeah.
In his office when he sees how the ring reacts. And that's the rest of the time when he tells Harry, you're far too important, far too valuable. I'm going to drink this. You're far too important, far too valuable. Save yourself. Because he understands then at that point, truly and finally, what Harry actually is.
Right.
Yes.
And I want to talk.
Very similar to Gandalf with the ring.
Yeah.
His recognition early.
Yeah.
So there's something too that it's like having to keep things from you for your own good.
Absolutely. I think we should talk a little bit about Snape, Death Eaters, Dumbledore at the top of the tower, but I don't have a whole lot to talk about here other than like pretty much perfect from front to back.
I was about, exactly how I imagined it.
Yeah.
In the book, just really, really excellent performances all around.
Yeah,
even,
I feel like
even Tom Felton in this.
Oh, it's his best.
Is believable
this is
as Draco.
career best for Tom Felton on top of this tower.
I even feel like they did like the camera angles that I imagined in my mind when I was reading it.
Yeah.
You know, from below and all that kind of stuff.
Dumbledore looking down through the crack at Harry. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, it was good.
Did not love Dumbledore falling in slow motion.
Yeah.
That was kind of a weird
Felt
thing.
odd.
Yeah.
I would have preferred for him to just drop dead.
I would have preferred a wide shot. Like when we see Gandalf and the Balrog falling in the center of the screen. Like if we've got the big tower on the left of frame and we just see small Dumbledore falling to the ground.
I would have loved a just view of the grass at that point, and all we do is we can only hear what's going on.
crumpled,
we hear it,
mangled
and then
body hits the ground.
Yeah, you just see the body hit the ground right there. Just like
Yeah,
it's just, and maybe even like bugs that are happy and like doing everything that, and it just falls down and
It's Flick
soul crushing.
from
And then
Bug's Life.
it
Yeah.
zooms out
Yeah.
even further, and you hear David Spade go, "What's with the bug?
Exactly.
Can we get
Perfect.
back to me?" Anyway, it's an Emperor's New Groove joke for those of you not in the know.
Oh, my
I
bad.
want to talk about a scene, and tell me if I'm jumping ahead too far. I want to talk about
From Deathly Hallows Part 2.
I want to talk about Dumbledore's quote unquote funeral.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Herein lies my super dump.
Okay, take me there.
I love the severity of this scene. I love that everybody is taking very seriously and clearly heartbroken by the death of Dumbledore.
Mhm.
I don't love that it's like, can we do this in like 20 minutes? Can we finish up everything with the Death Eaters and the Dark Mark before we honor the death of Dumbledore? Would that be okay with everybody? Like, to me, it's like, feels like a weird time to do this. So that's number one.
You saying the funeral was too early or too late?
Too early.
Okay.
Feels like maybe let's finish up the day's work, cleaning out Death Eaters and the Dark Mark. Then let's have the memorial service for our dear friend Dumbledore. But here's my real super dump. And it's something that's present a few times through this movie, but I want to focus on this. This movie, maybe more than any other Harry Potter movie we've seen so far, relies on implied coolness. It's the only way that I can think to put it.
Okay.
And this is a highly subjective super dump, more so than normal. And I want to paint you a picture of why. In this scene, we get a silent, sad, crying crowd of people silently and wordlessly holding wands up to the air, all casting the same spell. We don't know what that spell is. I assume Lumos. But when this happens, all I could think is how disappointing. Once again, we are ignoring the magic words that the viewers know. We are ignoring the power of a moment. And all I could think this whole scene is, how much better would this be if we're sitting with the Dark Mark above us, mourning the death of Dumbledore, and McGonagall quietly, under her breath almost, just takes her wand, holds it up and says, "Lumos Maxima." And then you see a tearful Neville. Lumos
Kind of like
Maxima.
a captain, my captain.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one by one, louder, more emotional, to the point where by the end, these students and faculty are screaming at the sky, "Lumos Maxima," and burning through this cloud.
Yeah,
on
like,
their
it's
heads.
like bright as daylight.
Yes. The symbolism, the like emotional payoff that I feel like we would get from having some actual reactions in this scene is completely wasted by this silent, like, respect fist up in the air, essentially, where we as the viewer are going, how did they all know to cast the same spell? How did they all know this would work? How did they? It's just like, we have the tools in front of us for this moment. We have the magic words that we're all familiar with. You don't have to go, "Lumos Maxima," and that makes light. We know the spell. Use it.
I think it's one of those rare cases where reading the books makes me have a harder time enjoying some of the little moments
Yeah,
like that
maybe.
here. And I don't know, you were talking about Carter, like, wish we got more Luna, wish we got more of this, wish we got more of that. It stands out to me that there's really a very different approach to turning these books into movies that we have in Lord of the Rings. Like Lord of the Rings, we go for that, like, hey, these are going to be 3-hour epics. In Harry Potter, we say these are going to be 2.5-ish blockbuster popcorn flicks.
Yeah.
Right.
And this can be something we can probably address more on the very last episode.
Yeah.
But
That's a
I
good
do
point.
quickly want to say, like, for Lord of the Rings, you really have probably 9 main characters people are invested in.
Right.
I'm not counting the Treebeards of the world.
Sure.
Like, Theoden could be there at some point, Eowyn, things like that.
But not really.
But I think one of the great things about Harry Potter is you really have, like, there's more room and there's more content for you to be able to say, because it is, yes, very many more pages than what Lord of the Rings offers.
Yeah.
To be able to say, I wish I had more of this, because it's pretty brilliant to have so many people that you can connect with.
Yeah. We
It
spend
really
a lot more
is.
time with
Because
these characters.
I'm sure I'm not the only one with the opinion about Luna, but a lot of people probably feel differently. And so
Yeah.
I think that's
Sure.
a testament to how much is in Harry Potter.
Well, and that's all great and good, but to me, you just double made my point of, well, then why don't we take advantage of having all these people that viewers care about
yeah.
and show them broken, sad,
In that
screaming Lumos
movie.
Maxima
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the sky? Like,
Oh, I'm not saying
Yeah.
against what you said,
No,
because
no,
I
I
think
hear
our
ya.
super
I
dumps
hear
are
ya.
similar. We both super dump lacked opportunity.
right. And
I
to
mean,
me,
I'll take that one too, because I super dumped the lacked opportunity of saying who on earth is the Half-Blood Prince?
Sure.
Right.
And so that's why, to me, the only phrase I can think of is implied coolness or implied awesomeness, where it's almost like this movie wants us to go, yeah, that was great, without really giving us anything to think was great. And it's not all the way through. Don't get me wrong. When we get to rating, you'll see my true thoughts on this movie. But there are just so many missed opportunities of like, yeah, I did think it was cool, but do you know what would have actually been cool? Doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to clarify, I think that's a problem inherent in this movie and kind of a larger scale problem with a lot of these later Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Not present in the narrative. I know that we've kind of said a lot of negative about JK.
I think you have.
I have said a lot of negative about JK, but
Why you hate?
as I'm realizing, I think a lot of my frustration comes from the depth of the narrative and how much time we get to spend in the world of Harry Potter, how invested we get in every single little detail, and how we gloss over a lot of important ones in an effort to make these movies popcorn length.
Yeah,
It is
I agree.
impossible, but I wish Harry Potter had the ingredients that Lord of the Rings did in terms of the filming process. I wish, but for them, it would have had to be 7 years.
Yeah.
You're telling people to just hang it up for 7 years and all hang out together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have made better movies. It's impossible.
Yeah.
There's no way they
It's
could
just
have
not
done
gonna
it.
happen.
crazy.
So now they have a time crunch. It's basically a thing of like, all right, everybody's got 3 months off. Well, here's 3 months to storyboard for the next one. Like, we got to go.
Right.
And
Yep.
like, I don't think they had the time to do it.
Sure.
And so pump back over to what the director and production was able to do with Lord of the Rings, because it was a good approach and something that was unique for them to be able to
I
have
don't
the
think
time
I've
to do.
realized how different the game plans are for turning these books into movies until we've done this series. So.
Yeah. They basically filmed 20 hours and were like, okay, we probably should cut about 10 of these for Lord of the Rings, you know?
Right.
Yep.
So
Well, I guess it's time to rate this movie. What do you guys think?
We didn't talk about Lavender and Wan. Love that. Super funny. I actually think that's really funny.
Oh,
anyway.
deeply annoyed me
Yeah, it's the worst thing
to
in
the
the world.
point of nausea.
I think that's the point, though. Anyway,
Sure.
it's fun. It's a fun time. That's exactly
she did a good job.
exactly
of
what my
being
relationship with my
disgusting.
wife is like. So it's a great time.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's
So
go.
now can I do the
snogging
thing I started
now,
to try and do?
now you can do your thing.
Thank you.
yeah. Sorry, it's your turn again.
Jeez.
Your turn to be on your podcast again.
I guess it's time to rate this movie.
Okay.
And here at Two Chunks and a Hunk, we know just how to do that, and that is with the help of our good friend Science. Come in. Oh, it's Science.
Hey, Science.
Science, thank you so much for showing up. We're so glad you're here. I'm going to let Science take over and talk about the scientific cinema scale TM. Hey, everybody, it's me, Science.
No, I thought Science sounded a lot more like regular Jordan last time I heard him talk.
Nope, I don't
Unless
think
like
so.
Bing Bong from Inside Out smoking for 20 years. Who is this?
It's me, Science.
Okay, you can do it. Go ahead.
Okay, you got to do the whole thing in that now.
Well, the best thing that we can say here at Two Chunks and a Hunk is...
Why does Science own a plantation? Who are you?
I'm a maple syrup farmer from the rural areas of Canada.
A.
And I'm here to tell you how to rate these movies. Now, the best thing that we can possibly say about these movies is own it, don't lend it, or buy that poster. The next best thing we can ever say is buy it. After that, it's going to be rented. Next
This is the worst thing you've ever done on our show.
Science, have you considered acting? There's a role of Harry Potter if you want to take it.
This tart was delicious. The next thing we can say about a movie is to stream it. After that, the next best and second worst thing we could ever say about a movie is forget it. And last, but certainly least, it's gonna be God has forsaken us.
Let's
The good
never do
Lord.
that again.
Bye, Science.
Bye,
See you later.
Science,
Wow, that was
forever.
weird. Science is such a weird guy. Anyway,
is weird.
Since you invited that guy, why don't you go first?
okay, sounds like a good. Hey, look, he kind of invited himself. I didn't want him to come, but you know,
Man.
he found out where we were.
Jekyll and Science.
I have geotagging on my phone, and
So
it was-
why don't you tell the two people who are still listening to our show what you think about this movie?
Despite some of the negative aspects that I saw of this movie, really, I did love this. It reminded me so much of why I love Harry Potter. And so for me, this movie actually, last night when it finished, I thought it was going to be a rent it. But after I slept on it, I think it shifted back up and firmly landed as a buy it for me.
Buy it for me as well. You know, I apologize with my whole entire heart that I ever said anything bad about this movie.
Yeah.
This is a really, really good movie. I said at the beginning of the show, this feels like a way more tonally appropriate follow-up to Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
This feels like the direction this franchise needed to go.
Yeah.
So for that, I give it a buy it.
It's a rent it for me.
Okay.
And I think much like Daniel Radcliffe's paper thin lips, there's just too much awkward perhaps pacing, awkward decisions made when Jordan, Doja, and I thought those opportunities could have been used with the same amount of time and effort somewhere else to make the movie better.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have a good understanding of the time frame of having to do a blockbuster movie in X amount of time, but I'm going to rent it. And it's also compared to, I am having to play the comparison game a little bit to the movie before it because I loved Order of the Phoenix. I really liked Goblet, and so this one's just never in my like top 3 of the series.
Yeah.
So it's a rent for me.
Interesting. I dig it. Thank you for your honesty. That was very brave
Yeah,
of you.
man. I just want to be honest.
Instead of shouting people out today, we are actually really excited to announce something that we're going to be doing this holiday season.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Kool-Aid Man. Starting today, with every new iTunes review, if you leave a new review on our show, please screenshot it and send it to us at twochunksandahunk@gmail.com.
Do it.
And to repay you for this great kindness, we have a special surprise for everyone who leaves us an iTunes review starting today, the day that this comes out, which is November the something.
9th, 10th.
11th?
November the 13th.
13th. That was the next one I was going to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking
Very
about
close.
today.
The day that this comes out, the day that
Spoiler.
people know about this.
Yeah.
Because we're not live.
We're not live.
We're not live.
But yeah, so that's going to be a great way for us to help you celebrate your own chunky holiday
It's
season.
tangible, guys. Let me just say that.
It is. And we are so grateful for every review already left. And we don't want to
Yes.
seem greedy here. And we're not, I promise.
No
But
way.
we see our download numbers and we know some of you are listening and not reviewing.
Here's the thing.
And listen, you're blushing right now. We're talking about
If
you.
you've already left a review,
Thank you.
thank you. You should not be exempt from receiving a gift. So here's what you're going to do. Look over to your left. You see the guy sitting right next to you?
Say what's up.
Guy or girl? Don't even say what's up. If you can grab that phone, if you can open it up,
Run.
I bet they've got iTunes.
Run fast.
Go ahead and have them, go ahead and subscribe for them.
Yep.
Leave us a review.
Yep.
Put it back.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah,
Dunzo.
Nobody's the wiser.
perfect.
Just do it.
Why? Why is this so important to us? Why should we subscribe? Why
Because
should we
we're
review?
about 150 reviews away within this next year. Okay. And we're pushing it because we're getting about a review a week, which is not going to make our dreams happen.
We need like 3 reviews a week.
Yeah.
And our download numbers would tell us that's doable.
Oh, that's certainly
doable, you guys.
That's certainly doable. And so if we reach that 200 mark, we can then put together a resume to Rotten Tomatoes to say, hey, we have checked all the boxes. Could you make us certified Rotten Tomatoes critics?
Oh, I want it so bad.
It'd be a good time. It'd be a really big deal for us.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it if you'd help us get there.
That would be such a huge deal. I know a lot of you use Flickster when you're looking up, like if you should see this movie or what opinions are on this movie, there's a good chance that you would have like a bloop, Jordan Wonder says, like, isn't that's unreal.
And I'll tell you this, if I see you in person and you have reviewed the podcast, I'll give you a cheek smooch.
Whoa.
It's true.
I'll do it.
I'll give you a
It's true.
tart.
His
Take
hand
a
is-
little
his
turtle
hand
bite
is
out
on
of
a
it.
Bible right
the
now.
little babyest bite.
Take me a little
the little
bite out
babyest
of it.
bite. So unless any of you two can think of anything else we need to talk about, I think
it's probably time to.
it's pretty much time to
sign it
wrap
off.
it up.
No, hold on.
and-
No, I've got something.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Guys, did you know that I just bought a vanishing cabinet?
No, you didn't.
Really?
Yeah. Here's
Did
what-
you really?
Yeah.
Did it come with the Scrub Daddy?
It came
Sharper
with a
image?
Scrub Daddy, but here's what I want to do. Scrub Daddy's not going in there. I don't want him getting hurt.
Sure.
But what I do want is anybody who hasn't subscribed,
Oh,
okay,
Carter.
you know who you are. Come on up
Yikes.
to Wax Space. Shout out to Wax Space. I have
Shout
a
out to
vanishing
Wax
cabinet
Space.
here. I want to let you. I want you to see the interior. I just want you to see the marvelous oak, the smell of the wood. I want you to go in there. But
Okay.
wait, hold up. Blink. I took a little bit of your hair.
Oh, Carter.
I closed the door.
Uh-oh.
Waiting about 5 glorious seconds for you to come back dead.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. Actual murder.
Thanks, unsubscribers. You're worse than someone who makes an unbreakable vow to help save a bad actor's life.
Wow.
Wow.
Is basically how I feel.
Yikes.
Go ahead and subscribe. Are you familiar with buttons? Push them. That's all I've got to say.
Fair enough.
Just push a button. You do it every day. Okay. If you've got to put the child lock on because you've got idiot friends that want to yell things at strangers, you push a button.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
That takes more effort than pushing your screen button to love others.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm not a fan of Carter's tone right now, but
I am a fan of his messaging.
I'm a fan of his message, and so I'll co-sign that. If you're listening to this podcast right now, it's a fact that you are a mere 2 pushes of your finger against a glass screen away.
That is so true.
From being a subscriber.
It takes
of this
you no
podcast.
If you
effort.
play Candy Crush, you push the screen 1.2 million times a night.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's
Give
science.
me
like
one
science.
to subscribe.
And Carter, is that you got it out of your system?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Well, then I think it's time to end our show for this week. And there's nothing.
Goodbye.
There's nothing that I would like to do more than for us each to guess the flavor of the tart that Harry ate out of Ginny's hand.
Okay.
I'll go first, and my guess is just crust, because there's no way he got any of the filling in that baby bite.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to guess quiche flavored because it super just looked like a spinach and sausage quiche.
I could get down on a quiche right now.
I would destroy a tart of quiche.
I'm going to say it was the flavor of communion wafer,
Okay,
which is about
great.
the
Like a packing
actual
peanut.
amount he had in his mouth.
Yep.
It was about a communion wafer.
Yep.
So,
That was the body of Magic Jesus.
Magic Jesus.
Well, on that note, for 2 chunks and a hunk, I'm Jordan, and here's my little bite.
I don't like this.
Too bad.
I'm Doge, and here's my little bite.
I'm not going to listen to this part of the podcast. I'm Carter, and here's my little bite.